Hello. Back for a hummingbird check. Didn't look at the temperature, but it's low 80s. Ooh. Somebody wanted to say hi to us right here. Yeah, little chickadee right above my head. See if I can switch. I might actually hang here for just a half a second because these chickadees are active. Might have some youngins around here. One just came down to the ground right in front of me. See if I can get one framed up for you. Kind of looking at the trees, seeing if there's any dead ones around. Chickadees make cavity nests. Better tighten my camera down a little bit. I'm also hearing this, I doubt's coming across camera. There's a light tapping noise. So not like a woodpecker communicating, but a woodpecker hunting. Could be a downy. We've mainly seen red-bellieds here lately. Oh yeah, it is a downy. It's a little male downy. Try to get a little bit level. Switch cams. It's there, I promise. There it is. Where'd he go? It is on this branch now. So if we get a good look at the back of the head there, that red indicates we've got a male. A little red spot on the back. Welcome, James. Yeah, downies, because they're just so small and they're less flashy. You know, the males do have that red on them. But they're small, move around more quickly. Obviously, you know, tracking it here even is a little bit tricky. A lot easier to spot in winter, I've found. One of my favorite behaviors to watch has been a downy woodpecker eating a mantis egg casing during the winter. The camera focus is getting confused with all the leaves. But yeah, and I didn't actually know I had to get some help from some friends. My, oh. Okay, see, that's what I was trying to think. I was like, I know great spotteds have a similar look to them. Hey, green herring. Yeah, that's what, when you said that your favorite UK woodpecker was like that, it made me think great spotted at first just based on looks, but I didn't really realize there was a little version of that too. Very cool. I think it'd be really cool to see a green woodpecker, because it totally breaks from the green woodpecker breaks from the color scheme that we're used to, at least here. Which flickers kind of break the mold too in terms of coloration, because they've got some fun browns mixed in instead of just the black, white, red. Yeah, I'd love to see a green woodpecker. Hear the cowbird behind me. Whoa. Again with the making sure I tighten all my things down. That was kind of a scary somersault. Hopefully that didn't frighten any of y'all. The weasel riding the green woodpecker was actually one of the first things that came to mind. And I couldn't remember the exact sequence, because it's one of those images you're just like, what is the context for this? Howdy. Lots of good turtle action. Oh, is a snapping turtle down there? Oh, yeah. There's two, yeah. I've seen as many as 3 of them together at once. And there's also a spiny soft-shelled turtle that's sometimes around here too. And then the two smaller species. You have a stalker, James? I'd say less of a stalker and more of just like a ubiquitous presence. I think it might actually be a hive mind. Yeah, probably some sort of a highly intense AI botnet that somehow has commandeered an avatar, because I do have evidence, at least fairly convincing evidence, that green herring actually does go outside in the world and take his own pictures of birds. Very good pictures, in fact. If you're on Doc's Discord, Dr. WD40 has a nature share in his Discord. I'm trying something kind of dicey here. We'll see how it works. My tripod is up on the railing instead of on the ground, so it's not extended, but it's higher, and I'm also at a different angle. So I just want to see what this looks like this time of day, so I can stay in the shadows, and the sun angle on the nest isn't quite so bad, not as backlit. So I'll line the nest up and we'll see how good our shot is. I kind of have to keep a hold of the tripod this way. But it might work actually, so we'll give it a shot. Experimentation time. I think my settings are kind of off for doing the video because I went and found a lifer Cassin's finch yesterday and did like a couple hours of photographing it. I haven't really recalibrated. Well, let's take a look at how the hummers are doing. I see some little bits hanging out at the top. So my thought was too, we might get a little better look at mom coming in and feeding, because that, you see that leaf now to the right of the nest? That's kind of been more in front of us recently. Oh, Cassin's sparrow. Yes. Thanks for catching that. Have you been out there? Yeah, it'd be wild if we had another Cassin's finch as well, because that would be rare. But Cassin's sparrow is super, super cool. I think I mentioned it a little bit on stream, because I streamed yesterday morning before I went to look for it. Oh. Let's test a little super zoom. Let's get focus locked first. Got both little beaks there. Yeah, so the Cassin's sparrow is, this is a little far north and east for its normal range this time of year. It does breed kind of, oh yeah, there's the tongue action. Yeah, Cassin's sparrow breeds southern Great Plains further south than here, and then a little southwest. And it doesn't have a whole lot in the way of really distinctive or sharp markings, no odd colors. I mean, it kind of just looks like a messy finch or sparrow. I keep making this mistake. But it's super cool, and it was a super fun experience. I mean, it took me at least probably closer to 3 hours before I actually saw it. The spot, I mean, and somebody just kind of randomly spotted it and reported it, because it's not, it's not a place you'd think of as a typical hot birding spot. It's actually a suburban neighborhood development that's only half built. And in the undeveloped parts of it, there's actually a lot of good wildflowers and kind of scrubby habitat. And then some good, little ditch and some little kind of puddles and stuff. So it's actually a pretty cool habitat right now, really pretty. Some of the shots I got had some cool, blurry, I don't know what the flowers are, these little yellow wildflowers in the background. And I got some of it perched up in some thistle as well. That was all purple and pretty. But yeah, and it's actually a lot of territory for a solitary brown bird to hide in. So I actually spotted it without being able to, fully verify, because it basically just flew down into this grass. And so I kind of walked around there and was really trying to be sneaky, and eventually got to where I was right on top of where I saw it go down, and it hadn't. Which again is interesting, because it's like I'm used to certain sparrow behavior, from the sparrows that I'm more familiar with, mainly during the winter. And those have all gone up north to breed now, for the most part. There's still some field sparrows around occasionally, things like that. But yeah, this guy was just, I could tell from the first sighting that it was acting different. So I didn't really have anything visual to go on, and it hadn't vocalized yet. The vocalization was what I was really looking for to seal the deal. But yeah, it was super fun. Like I think because it's like I don't typically go try to find rare birds. And in this case, I was taking a 15-minute drive from my house, which is kind of a stretch for me in terms of my normal birding radius. But one thing that I do like about an experience like this is just by spending that much time in the habitat and with the bird, you do get some really interesting insight. So it's like less about, and like, because I'm not a huge lister, and I know for a lot of people something like that, and for a lot of people it's a bird that they've seen before. Maybe they haven't seen it in Oklahoma, maybe they hadn't seen it this year. There were a couple of veteran birders that kind of dropped by, and I was actually, it's fun too, it's something like that. That's another aspect that is interesting, is because word's kind of gotten around. It got reported on eBird. It's considered a rare observation, so lots of people were seeking it out. So I commiserated with one birder who was there around the time, a little after I got there, and then she ended up leaving before she saw it. So we were kind of commiserating about not seeing it. But just being familiar with the habitat, plus it's like I got better looks. Horned larks weren't what I was looking for, but I got better looks at horned larks yesterday than I ever have. I think I got some cool video of it that I need to edit, some good pics. And there are also lark sparrows, meadow larks, lots of larking things. And one of the most exciting things, when I did spot the Cassin sparrow, it actually one time it does this cool aerial display and flight call that people refer to as skylarking, because that's something that a skylark But yeah, skylarks are, an old world European bird that do this cool aerial where they fly way up and they do their song as they're flying. Which there's lots of birds that do flight displays like similar. I mean, hummingbirds actually do flying flight displays. Their vocalization's obviously a little bit softer, but they'll do these like swoopy dives. So with this, the sparrow, it was right after it had hopped out really close to me, because it was kind of coming out more in the open around the places where there's some disturbed dirt from the construction to forage a little bit, but then retreat back into the tall stuff. So it came out really close to me, and then I heard it calling. It has a little chip, kind of a sparrowy sound, just a little bit distinctive. But then it just goes pretty much flies straight up into the air, spreads its wings out, does a hover, and this whole time it's doing this really cool, complex song, and then kind of just falls slowly to the ground. So it's not like a zoom dive like the hummingbird. It's kind of the opposite, where it's going up, just kind of pausing and hovering as it sings, and then slowly coming back down. And it was really cool. There's one video, I forget what I searched on Google to find it, but I found one decent video of it. Yeah, skylarks would be fun to see, but so they call that skylarking, that this Cassin sparrow does. It's not a skylark. Meadow larks are not larks either. Lark sparrows, which I also saw, are not larks. They have kind of larky songs, which is why they call that, but lark sparrows are New World sparrows, which aren't that closely related to Old World sparrows. Meadow larks are actually New World blackbirds. They're icterids, so they're more related to red-winged blackbirds and stuff like that. But the other bird that I said I saw good looks at, the horned lark, the horned lark is actually the only true lark species that is in the Americas. So that was fun to see too. Yep, horned larks are the only real larks. We've got lark buntings, lark sparrows, meadow larks, not larks. So yeah, no, I have never been outside of North America. I've been to Canada, I've been to Mexico, and I've been in most of the regions of the US. James, did you catch a transatlantic vagrant? Those do happen. I mean, I know there were a handful just within the last year. You know, like a song sparrow near a belted kingfisher in the UK. It happens. Wow. Well, you got to think, I mean, with something that's as unique in this part of the world as being the only lark, because, you know, in Eurasia and Africa, there's tons of larks, but only one species here. But if one species made it across, that means they accidentally crossed, you know, a big distance, big ocean. Yeah, that would be interesting to see why. I mean, in a lot of cases, even if there seems to be decent habitat, it can a lot of times be related to nesting habitat. So here we've got a lot of birds that are cavity nesters. Red-headed woodpeckers are in decline for sure here. Lots of other stuff. Just because there's still decent amounts of trees around, but humans don't like to leave dead trees standing. So that makes it hard to find good cavity nest locations. Sometimes it's also food supply stuff. And I don't know if, I'm assuming skylarks are maybe insectivorous. I don't know. But some birds have very specialized diets too. So if a single food species tanks, that can drag predators, or even in case of plants. If plants are having trouble, specifically that, you know, well, hummingbirds, like a lot of the South American hummingbirds are, like a lot of insects, are specifically adapted to certain types of plants. Okay, yeah, that would make sense. If they end up developing a relationship with a human crop, and then that crop goes away, that could be it too. Yeah, that same sort of switch I know has happened around here. I mean, pretty much there's a decent amount of wheat grown here, and forever, I mean, for my whole lifetime, it's all been winter wheat that's planted, that's sown in the fall, then harvested in the spring. So I wonder who that's affected. I may try to move my phone and face cam a little bit, because it's hard to keep other folks walking by out of frame. But I'm also having to brace my tripod, so try not to get the nest out of frame though while I do this. It's not too badly. That's about as low as I can get this, but that's alright. I think that'll help, since obviously it's kind of getting the top part of my head. Guess I could level it a little bit too. So now I kind of have to stand on tippy toes. You could try really, really overkill zoom. And that's the thing with the super zoom is actually not horrible when, oh, I see feathers. When the light's good. Because this is actually, at this point, definitely lowering the resolution to get that level of zoom. Because this is my lens fully extended with the extra tele, which is lossless digital zoom, but it's also got a 4x digital zoom on top of that. But at least on this end, this quality looks okay-ish. I'll crank the exposure a little bit. Oh, here she comes. We'll do a close-up feeding here. It's almost like she's cleaning up a little bit with her tongue around their faces. So hopefully that looked okay at that level of magnification. I was trying to keep it, and I turned off my face cam to give a little bit more. Oh, they're moving, so I'm going to come back out a little bit. Although now I want to come back in for that eye.
The turtles, they're gone.
Ooh.
Where? Mom, no, there's not.
Okay, but look at the wall.
Mommy, look.
Okay, baby, hold on.
Mom, just look.
They're all lined up in the wall.
Mommy.
Right in it.
Mommy,
Oh, wow. Take it back a step just while the wind's blowing. So did all that come through clear enough? So this is definitely the most, guys, that's like a whole ass hummingbird. Pardon my French, I'm just excited. Yeah, see the wingtip sticking up there? Yeah, they're getting so chunky. And I always forget too that I've got that border at the top of my screen that you guys are seeing, so I'll try to move it down a little bit. Yeah, they are growing big time. Tempting fate here, taking a swig of my... I'm still caffeinating, just bad this late in the day, but had a little pressure build up too in my thermos. Yeah, it actually feels fairly stable. I'm able to have one leg of my tripod kind of extended out, and then the other two are just like 3 inches apart on the 2x6. That's the railing of the bridge. I'm gonna zoom back out because with the wind I just can't keep it. Can't quite keep it in frame. The high magnitude. If it gets still, I'll zoom back in on them. So you can see on their throats the kind of streaky lines. Once they fledge, they'll look pretty much like mom. But we'll be able to tell them apart because they will still have some light. It'll be a little bit lighter than that, but they'll have some light, some dark streaks on them once they start flying around. That's how you can tell a juvenile from a female a lot of the times. Sometimes it's tricky still to tell them apart, but a young bird's more likely to have some streakiness on the throat, kind of long vertical stripes. Oh, Gene, nature lover. Thank you for joining and thank you for following. I love seeing you around in other folks' chats. I'm glad to have you here. So is that a wingtip? It's a little less windy. Dare we risk it? We'll risk a little bit of wind for zooming in.
Hay que darle en esta casa. Obvio.
Yeah, I think this face cam angle is better. Fewer people getting on camera as they walk by. Because like I say, I've got to stand up. This is actually probably good for it's kind of a permanent posture check for me. So I've got to stand up to my full height to stay in frame here. So get to know, I was trying to remember, I know I really liked the last video you posted to Twitter. And I'm trying to remember what all was in it. They all kind of start to blur together. I know it had in the thumbnail, it started with some red-winged blackbirds. Trying to get comfortable. Yeah, it's that time of year. Vigilant parents watching over their babies, just like our mama here. I still, like I say, I haven't seen her a whole lot, but I have a suspicion that part of the time. Oh yeah, that was the other thing. That was the other thing that blew my mind, get to know, was the willets in the trees. If you guys don't know willets are shorebirds. So you're used to seeing them along the water, walking around, or in flight in the groups. But they do actually, go in trees sometimes. But it's strange. It's like the first time I saw a roadrunner in a tree. It was so weird. Same with seeing ducks in trees. Speaking of roadrunners, I should try at some point to seek out. I mean, I mean, it kind of would be in the owl category, because so far the only, one of my redeems for owl pellets, my channel points, is to make me chase or to set a target species. The owl one has kind of thus far been a failure, and kind of got interrupted because I had some plans to continue that, but now I'm kind of going to be hummingbird centric for a couple weeks. But roadrunner would be another one that would be tricky, maybe a little bit easier than owls. I actually have I have a coworker that had one. I helped her ID just by description, no picture or anything. This weird big bird that came to her backyard. Whoop. That's why I have to keep my hand on the tripod. Had a guess and just take it over. Sometimes also I'll see geese on top of buildings too. That's always fun. But yeah, I could probably find a roadrunner at some point. Might take a little bit of looking. But I realize those are probably some birds that some of you guys that are further east might not have seen or seen much of. There are more of them southwest of here, but we do get them. I think it's been over a year since I've seen one though. And my last good spot to find, I found a pair of roadrunners a few years back, but that's a park that has since been converted to a Girl Scout camp. So it's a little bit, yeah, I'm not gonna go birding and lugging cameras and stuff and being creepy around a Girl Scout camp, clearly. So hot spot bites the dust. That's all right though. That general area though, that's kind of over towards more Cross Timbersy, where it gets a little bit hilly and a little bit thicker. Speaking of tree ducks, I had a pair of black-belly whistling ducks that my aunt told me about at her house out by where my folks live, but unfortunately they were just kind of moving around, dropped by, so I don't know what they're up to, but they did not stay there at their pond. Otherwise I would have driven out there too. Just made it a real birding marathon day. But yeah, roadrunners are so fun to watch, and they're another thing that taxonomically are so weird. Because who would guess the closest relative of a roadrunner? I'll give you a hint, roadrunners are technically songbirds. Yeah, Las Vegas is a good place. Like I say, you get more of them when you go more southwest. They do really well in those dry environments. Not a lot of trees, so they don't use them that often there, and mostly are running on the ground or the road. But lots of lizards out there too, which is one of their specialties. They'll eat anything. They'll eat hummingbirds. It's not that uncommon to hear stories that people be watching their hummingbird feeder and have a roadrunner run by and then just hop up real quick to the feeder and pluck a hummingbird off. Because hummingbirds are not easy prey, but if they're perched and you're a bird that can just hop right up and grab them from underneath, it's possible. Yeah, we can try. I'll start doing some preliminary scouting on eBird and stuff for Roadrunner spots, because I need to find some new ones anyway. The other thing that can get hummers is, I think we've talked about this before, is mantises. Praying mantis can take a hummingbird too. They'll wait. They'll instead of jumping up on them, they'll actually just ambush. They'll wait on a feeder. Oh, anyway, my trivia fact. Roadrunners are... Wait for it. Roadrunners are cuckoos. Their closest relatives are New World cuckoos.
Toodles is small, so I'm guessing he's like a...
Howdy. Doing well, thanks. So, not hugely surprisingly, we have a lot of people coming in and out right now, so there's not a whole lot of other bird activity. I mean, we had the chickadees and the downy as we were coming in, and I've heard only a couple birds, but cowbird we heard as we were walking in. But it's been fairly quiet around here. Like I say, for a lot of people around in this time of day, that's not that unexpected. But I mentioned running into birders when I was seeing the Cass and Sparrow yesterday. Oh, here's Mom. Sorry for mixing up the zooms there. Says I want more. Okay, after that feeding, Herring, are you in a position where you could maybe make a pole? If not, we can just do... Yeah, it makes me really nervous too every time. See the needle of a beak going. I mean, because especially, I mean, they're getting bigger now, but when they started, her beak was longer than, you know, was longer than the baby. And then you just think about, like, you know, missing it and going towards an eye, and the eye stuff just freaks me out. Like anything around my eyes, tweezers. Okay, let's try a poll, just a quick poll to say, do we want to stay on the nest, or which we don't. I didn't take the exact time of that, and we don't have kooky login times. So that seemed pretty quick. Do we want to stay on hummingbird for now, or do we want to go find gnatcatcher nest? I have a lead here. One of the birders I ran into told me the basic location of a blue-gray gnatcatcher nest. So we go to try to spot that, or we can just stay on these guys. So stay with hummers or look for blue-gray gnatcatcher nest. Oh, that's a good wing look. Let's get way in there for a second. Cool, thank you, Green Herring. Kuratu, thank you for following. Did I say that correctly? Kuratu? Glad you could join us, see our babies. A little fluff. Yeah, 3 minutes is good. Should have added an option. I should have thought to add an option of stay with the hummers indefinitely, stay with the hummers until next feeding, and then book it. But I wasn't on my A game when I was throwing out options. Didn't think of that third one until later. So if I can stay till 9. I probably won't actually be able to stay quite that long. It's coming up on 5 o'clock here. I'll probably only have a couple hours. Probably leave before 7. We'll see though.
That was fun. Yeah, big puddle.
Yeah, I could just get a camping permit. I've genuinely, so I actually have a ratchet strap tree trunk mount for a camera. I could always try that. If we could fundraise a couple $100 for the data overages, I could try just strapping the tree, swing by on my lunch break, swap batteries when nobody's looking. Okay, and Green Herring, I can't actually, for some reason, see. Okay, cool. Yeah, I didn't notice at first that you'd done the redeem when you said the Roadrunner after hummers, but it's official. We can do that. We'll do first stream after the hummers fledge. We'll go on the Roadrunner search. And actually, some of those areas where I'd expect roadrunners wouldn't be bad for owls either. Okay, we're gonna go find Greg at gnatcatcher nest real quick. I'm gonna make sure I'm super tight on my mounts. Tighten down tripod, shut camera screen to save some battery. It shouldn't be too far. So like I say, it's that, if anybody's ever seen me cross the big bridge over the big creek, this is just kind of this creek bed is sometimes totally dry except for here where it meets the pond. So we're going to the big bridge, same place we saw the spot our red-tailed hawk. And where last time I think we were there, we saw a deer and a great blue heron down there. Hopefully, and the gnatcatchers are usually pretty talkative throughout the day. So with any luck, we'll be able to spot them moving around and then hopefully leading us to the nest. The nest may actually have some similarities with our hummingbird nest, because I know they do some spider web and camouflage action as well, I think. They're also small, not that much bigger than hummingbirds. We will pass through a zone or two that might give us a little bit of LSD video breakup. I think gnatcatcher nests are usually sometimes you don't actually see the birds inside it. The other day on our learnings nest we were talking about. Yeah. Hopefully we'll come out. But yeah, when I was in Maiko's chat the other day, we were talking about hummingbirds, but also about the nest of long-tailed James. You may have actually seen those too. But they build these really cool kind of bottle-shaped nests that just have like an opening at the top, and they use a lot of moss and lichen and stuff on the outside as camouflage. Much bigger than the hummers. Saw some flying I thought might be our green heron, but it's actually a pair of mallards going down the creek. But yeah, long-tailed tits are interesting because they're not that closely related to great tits, blue tits. They're more of a bush tit, which, just like we were talking about lark sparrows kind of being one of a kind in their family and being in North America. We do have one bush tit in North America, and we just call it a bush tit. I got to see those when I was in California as well. And that even seems a little bit weirder, because not only did only one get over here, it kind of went to the far west side of the country. So like while our chickadees are closely related, and we have several species of chickadees related to great tits, blue tits. Nice cardinal song. Alright, thanks for joining for a bit. Get to know. Be well until we see you again. Alright, we approach the bridge. Very quiet back here. Hopefully we'll hear some little squeaking nasally gnatcatcher sounds shortly. Your crow. Have you ever been fishing? Oh. I feel like I'm hearing one. A little bit of wind, so it's hard to pinpoint where it's coming from, but okay, and it sounds like it's coming from kind of where he was talking about on the far side of the bridge. Let me know if you hear any of the sounds on your end. They're a little bit subtle. It's just kind of a high-pitched, really nasal, squeaky sound. Not that. Howdy. I'm actually take my earbud doesn't. I've been using these cheap $10 earpod knockoffs. Okay, I'm pretty sure it's here on the left side that I'm hearing it. So yeah, so this doesn't block my hearing that much, but it might be a little easier to get the binaural echolocation going. And now I got a jet flying over us. That's not gonna help. Yeah, if you hear a little wheezy sound, let me know. Howdy. I kind of circle around where I thought I was hearing it. Scan the trees. Hello.
What are you doing?
Looking for birds.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Taking pictures?
Yeah,
This is the perfect place for that. Yeah.
it is.
That looks like a telescope.
It does.
There was a white bird down at the creek. It was like an ocean looking bird.
Oh, cool. Yeah, probably an egret.
Yep, that's exactly what I think it was.
So I do see a small round hole. Doesn't look super fresh, but that could potentially be a chickadee nest. Too small for a woodpecker. But I'm not hearing. I can hear the cardinal over on the other side of the creek. But I want that wheeze. I'm hearing it now. It's hard to pinpoint too because they move around so much. I forget here if I let's see if I swap cameras if you get any cables in the view. So you can kind of see the environment a little bit better. Yeah, so you get... What cable is that? Oh, you get a little bit of a... Was that a great horned owl? Okay, I'm hearing I'll pan around a little bit, give you an idea. There's the bridge we came over on. Oh, it's closer now. So I'm gonna stay quiet because I'm trying to pinpoint this gnatcatcher, which sounded like it may have been up in these trees here. Also, we have it starts to clear out a little bit. This is where we'd previously seen the buntings, the indigo and painted buntings. We're really close to where we saw the female painted bunting. But I may go a little bit. Okay, we're torn now. So, remember, if you were here when we were at this park, it may have actually been the day we discovered the nest. I was looking for great horned owls because I saw a lot of great horned owls, saw some fledglings this time of year last year along the creek close to where we're watching the hummingbird nest. And so I said, I want to go back to this back corner of the park because it's more isolated. There's lots of big trees right on the creek. Good spot for great horned owls. We never saw or heard anything when we went back there. I went back there several times. But I don't know if anybody can verify. It was kind of faint, but I could swear I heard a great horned owl. Weird time of day for a great horned owl to be calling, but if they've got babies, the babies should be fledged by now, or close to it. So I'm gonna find a nice shady spot here, and we're gonna see if we hear either our gnatcatcher or potentially the owl back there. Because if the owl, the direction that's coming from is that back corner that I've talked about and that we checked out once. Did you hear that? I don't know if that's coming through. It's kind of faint, which makes me wonder if it's outside the bounds of the park. We're still on super zoom. Had to pause for a little eastern cottontail, a little bunny action. Yeah, the last year I got to watch Mama Great Horned Owl bring in a cottontail and share it with her 3 fledglings. It was amazing. One of my favorite birding things I've ever seen. There is a indigo bunting singing over here too. Hope you guys don't mind me getting sidetracked from a sidetrack. Howdy.
How are you?
Doing well, thanks. Yeah, and it was interesting. It was actually about this time of night. Presumably, again, because this time of year, the owls have, kind of fledged, but are still dependent on mom for food. So they're eating a lot. So presumably she has to hunt a little earlier in the night, a little later in the morning probably. Yeah, that's the only time I've ever seen an owl feeding. It probably caught it in that open field that we've looked at before, where we've seen some of the deer and stuff toward the front of the park. That would be the most likely place for it to catch one, where I saw her feeding it. So we are back at the creek. Can't believe it's that zip tie in there. I don't think I can move the zip tie without unplugging the camera though. Here's the creek bed, along with the big oaks that I think are good candidates. Can almost poke that out of the way. You'll just have to deal with it's not actually getting used, but it's getting in frame. See if you guys can hear the indigo bunting. That song was indigo bunting, I think. Somewhere over here. Also have some very pretty flowers that I do not know how to identify. Anybody know these? So yeah, this is what the path looks like that I'm going along. Right there where that grass stops is where the creek drops off. And where we're hoping we might get an owl. Hear people up ahead, so I'm switching. Hi. Our indigo either moved or was just further back than I thought. Now it's kind of behind me. Okay, scanning trees. Big trees, the big branches for the big birds. Got some chorus frogs started here. I still don't know what species or species of chorus frogs I should really be listening for, or how to tell them apart. I felt good about just being able to say, oh, those are chorus frogs. There's an unidentified frog that's been in our neighborhood making a bunch of noise. Kind of freaking out, it's like you can't really tell, it's hard to tell what it is because it sounds almost human, but you know it's not. And then it's like, is it an insect? Is it a frog? Is it some weird bird? Stacy kind of thought it was a bird, my wife. But I was like, no, I know that's a frog, and I found some frogs that are similar sounding, but not exactly. There's a lot of different frog species. This is where I was hoping we'd get our best chance of hearing the owl being closer, but you know, I'm getting so loud. Or on the highway, maybe a helicopter at the hospital. But keeping my eyes peeled, because even if we strike out again on owl, we might run into something unexpected here. Or just get a better shot at one of our old faves. Or maybe the gnatcatchers will be right at the nest right when we get back to the bridge. And then we can head back up for the check-in on the hummers. Heard a snatch of indigo bunting. Pretty sure indigo bunting. If they don't finish and end on their little 3-note thing, I'm never quite certain. So I'm just starting to barely feel confident about them vocally. Getting a little bit muddy. Cardinal going too. Something big flying over. If I can get this on camera. One of my faves. Good try for it. Kind of try to get focused in on a tree about the right distance away. Maybe switch focus modes actually. Come back. Come back, friend. Here he is. Catch a glimpse? Anybody ID it from that little tiny glimpse? It's It's right over the trees. Dang it. See if it comes back. Yep, we got us a turkey vulture. Stay focused. Right above us. Oh, I can't fall over. Yeah, I wish you could see me trying to track that thing. Because my phone's right here. This is attached to the side of my tripod. I've got 1 foot of the tripod kind of wedged into my waistband, the top of my waistband where my belt is. And then the camera's up a couple feet above, or a foot above the phone, 6 inches above my head. And so I'm doing all this action, trying to follow it. I was leaning back and about a foot over right as it went over. Yeah, unfortunately I left all my animal carcasses in my other pants. Yesterday I did stake out a spot where some turkey vultures were gathering and landing on the ground, but it was one of those deals where like the only way I could have gotten to it is if I was like creeping outside of a large apartment complex, which I was not eager to do. But I think that may be our first turkey vulture on the stream. You can tell turkey vultures are close to my heart from the... Right now I probably will make some other, like in different stream starting soon screen or something. Maybe I'll leave the turkey vulture for the Seth has lost signal or fallen into a lake technical difficulties scene. But yeah, they're one of my faves. You can see I'm getting nice and shiny and sweaty. I also need to be careful. I put on a little bit of sunscreen today, but I didn't yesterday. And I got kind of a weird, like this side of my face is much more tan than my right side. Just because of where I was staked out, not with the hummingbird, and also looking for that Cassin sparrow. Kind of always facing the same way in relation to the sun.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's why I healed up first, because I'm like, I'm going to need some of this Pokemon to come right back.
Hearing some movement here. It may actually be this is right by where our bunny's spotted. A likely story, Dr. WD-40. Oh, no, it's all cool. Ran into crossed paths with some Pokemon Go players. I wasn't sure. It was like, pretty sure they were doing some video gamey AR sort of stuff, because 4 people on a trail all looking at their phones, even by normal phone usage standards. It's a little unusual. And then I heard one of them talking about Pokemon healing. So yeah, they were Pokemon going. Sometimes you got a Pokemon go to the parks. So Doc, did you get some good progress made on the solar project? I was just wanting to, I don't know what happened there. I guess I just brushed my chat phone. Cool, cool, cool. I'll have to check out. Hopefully there's a good section there at the end where you demoed it for us. Not hearing our gnatcatchers. Right? Yeah, it was like, Doc's here, gotta shut it down. Thank you. Check out the shout out, y'all. Doc's great. He does all this stuff, except he never hits misfires buttons on his switcher or chat phone. I'm kind of surprised I haven't pocket banned somebody yet for something bad like that, but so we'll pause here again by the bridge. We were hearing the gnatcatchers. So for those who weren't here earlier, we were at the hummingbird nest and decided to go scope out. Yeah, but presumably, no matter what you said, that was actually intentional. That you almost gave Herring the banhammer. Yeah, that's what I was saying, green herring. Yeah, so we were at the hummingbird nest, watched 2 feedings, decided to run to the other end of the park to follow up on a lead for a blue-gray nest, which is, if my very reputable, kind birding friend source is to be trusted, which, yeah, it's probably somewhere within 25 feet of us right now. And when we first swung by, we heard them a little bit, but we're trying to locate them. And then we got distracted because we heard a great horned owl. Went on a wild goose chase to the back corner of the park. Stopped hearing that owl, never saw the owl. So, owl remains nemesis on the stream. I'll step up on the bridge. See, we had a passerby mention a egret on the creek, so we'll see if there's anything on the creek. And then if we start hearing the gnatcatchers go wild with their wheezy calls, we'll try to follow them again. If not, we can meander back to the hummers.
Oh my god. That's crazy.
Howdy. Give you guys a better set of just the sun behind me. See what the creek looks like here. Might see if that's a soft shell out there. There's a big turtle on the bank, and I've never seen a soft shell out of water, so that could be interesting. Let's do turtle time.
I wonder how much still people have dropped now. Yo, I got some more.
You got more? Good or wrong?
Okay, as long as this turtle doesn't just flop into the water right now, we should get it. Yeah, I think that's a soft-shelled, pointy-suited guy.
The fish? The turtle was riding the fish.
It's going to destroy the quality of this so you can see the snake a little better.
Oh, are you okay?
Yeah. I'm okay. I'm okay.
So that was funny. That's actually a different kid, so right as soon as I went to maximum artificial zoom level, so right when I got to maximum zoom level on the turtle, you might have heard it too, because preteen kid jumped up and landed on the bridge. So all that shaking when I was zoomed in on the turtle. Yeah. I wasn't actually touching the tripod at that time. And then a separate younger kid was, can't blame him. If I was a little kid with the stick, we've talked about the benefit and how great sticks are here before. Gotta have a stick. And it makes a fun sound when you hit the big massive metal railing of the bridge with the stick. Probably doesn't help our chances of hearing the gnatcatchers over here. But so yeah, that's spiny softshell turtle. Around here at least, I think they're kind of like near threatened. They have some additional special protections because they're a lot less common. But we've seen probably that same one over here, and then we've seen one, could be the same one, over at the Hummingbird Bridge. So I'm going to swing back by Gnatcatcher Corner real quick, and then we'll go back to the Hummers. Oh yeah, there's several of those then. So that one, there's one on the bank over on the other side of the river too. Spiny soft shells.
Yeah. They're looking for you.
Yeah, kind of way back past the dead tree before the grass on the part of the bank that sticks out.
Wow.
That's the first time I've ever seen one out. Cool.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Did you get any good shots of them?
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool. Very nice. Yeah, I've never seen sunbathing like that. I've never seen it at all.
This red ear is trying to ride this soft bill.
Those were our Pokemon Go folks. Just a good thing about Pokemon Go. Gets you out there in the wild places. even while you're catching imaginary creatures, you can find some real world creatures. Apparently some people are still playing. So I'm hearing cardinal, I'm hearing the distant indigo bunting again, but not the gnatcatchers. I'm wondering too, there was, like I said, my friend said this is where he found the blue-gray gnatcatchers and just recommended listening for them and following them, which might not pan out for us, especially if they're being quiet. But I'm wondering too that some other birders that we ran into on stream mentioned a hummingbird nest over here, and I'm wondering if they found the blue-gray gnatcatcher nest. I think it was a false alarm. I just thought I heard another owl call. We might. Okay, I'm gonna go try to find a little opening over here. Sorry, we keep getting sidetracked. You can always start yelling at me in chat to go back to the hummingbirds. But I might actually have my best chance so far of getting you guys a bird that I've been seeing a lot of, but haven't been able to show on stream. One of my favorite summer birds, one of my favorite flyers. A Mississippi kite. Let me get the camera wide, and then we'll see if I can track a little bit doing my funky method. May need to go manual focus. Out towards infinity. Not quite there. Mississippi kites, I think, I really can't compare them too directly. They're the only kites I've seen, and snail kites are absolutely phenomenal. But they're pretty freaking cool. They stick pretty much to aerial insects. They eat lots of dragonflies, smaller bugs. They will eat other stuff, but it's mostly insects they catch on the wing. They're pretty acrobatic, which makes it a challenge for me to try to get them on stream. Yeah, so they're definitely gonna, in terms of how they hunt and stuff, they're much more like swallowtail kites. Don't do that weird, because snail kites are ground nesters too, I think. Doesn't want to come closer, I may go. I've kind of got a lot of trees around me, so the sky up above me is not as easy to, not as easy to access. It's easy for them to dip behind trees because they're going low to high to all around. I guess I can kind of give you an idea of what I'm trying to get anyway. So they're back behind all these trees and kind of just randomly popping up to where I can see them. Okay, I have shadow coming over me. Gonna try to pan up, see if I can get it. There we go. You see a little bit of the white on the backs of the wings. But yeah, they can move so quick. So here it's on a dive. Going fast, going fast, going fast. Too fast for me to track. And that's about as, occasionally in the wind you can kind of get them in a hover. This is where I really want to borrow my, one of my photographer buddies, bird buddies, has like a $300, it's not a gimbal head, tripod gimbal head. So no, it's not a falcon, it's a kite, Mississippi kite. So kites are actually more closely related. They're kind of in you know, a group of their own, but they're more related to hawks and eagles. Whereas in the past couple decades, we found out that falcons actually have more shared DNA with parrots than they do with other raptors. Yeah, so I think over there, James, I'm guessing you're probably used to seeing red kites. In the UK and that part of the world. Yeah, I forget who, we had Barry Blue Jorts in chat, I think on one of the raids. But yeah, I'm so good at the genes. Got one that's kind of hovering a little better for us, but diving. Now I'm a little overblown out. Yeah, red kites are super well distributed. They, you know, you can find those in Australia too. Here we've got Mississippi kites. I try to see white-tailed kites when I'm down in Texas, in South Texas. Trying to find the female. Females around here too. Sorry for the quick pan. Yeah, I don't know where our male is. We will go up to if I can aim this correctly. There's a chickadee right here. Come on, little chickadee. Yeah, cardinals can be super chill until they're not. There's you can see, talking about birds that move around. Chickadees are the master of that frenetic movement. Oh, it's out in the open. It's out in the open. Can I get it while it's out in the open? Here's our gnatcatcher. This could be one of our parents. If I can get it in focus. Freaking crap. Oh! What kind of rare falcon are folks all worked up about there? I assume peregrines are not that uncommon there. So here's So there's our little chickadee. Yeah, peregrines have really bounced back here too. Okay. I should stop trying to pan around to those little tiny quick birds way up in the trees, way far away. But there was a glimpse of the the gray-blue gnatcatcher there. Yeah, I haven't really heard of the Eleanorus falcon. Yeah, the one we've had here recently was the bat falcon that people were going wild about. If I get a little closer, I might actually get a really good shot of these chickadees. We'll see if these chicks come down a little closer. There's a group of them, like they might be a family here. I mean, chickadees are often in groups, but these are acting kind of different. Like maybe one's, some of them are young. If I can get one clear on screen, I'll switch, but they're almost calming down, just not in a great spot. I mean, we can switch it up entirely because I do have a little friend here. This should be easy to get. That one I should know. Pete's actually told me what that one's called. White-rumped something, one-spotted. Oops. That wasn't great. Let's try that again. Yeah, they're using the fence-assisted tripod. Not ideal. So we'll type them down and keep moving. Okay. And I keep hearing little snatches of our blue-gray gnatcatchers, and there's probably more than one pair around here. Even in this little tiny area. So I think we'll give them one more chance to make themselves seen over by the bridge, and then we'll head back to check on hunters. Yeah, I would have loved to see the bat falcon. I wasn't going to make a big long road trip for it. But I love falcons. I've seen 3 species of falcon, only one of them called falcon. Well, in the wild. Peregrine I've seen, and then American kestrel and merlin, which are both small falcons. And a caracara. 4, really. Caracaras are a different kind of their own branch of the falcon family, but they are essentially falcons, even though they don't act like other falcons or look like them. Yeah, see, Doc is just repelled. James would say such a ridiculous thing. He's going to leave now. I'm pausing. There's some portraiture going on. Human portraiture going on ahead of me. Yeah, I've heard theories that Doc green screened that entire stream. He was walking around on a treadmill. VR stuff's looking good. I know there are a couple of you, at least Green Herring was in Finn Explores live last night that he did completely within VR chat. Especially if you've got a nice computer to run the graphics and stuff. Because basically people can program anything you could program into a fancy Unity game. And if the computer can render it, it looks pretty good. I've never had a fully powered VR experience. I've got an Oculus Quest 2 and done the thing. It'd be fun. I don't have a computer that can really run anything right now either. But if I ever do get a nice computer, I do want to try tethering my. Because I'm not going to pump a bunch of money into a VR rig. But I do want to try tethering my Quest headset. That could be fun. We're going to loop around the other side of the creek, and then we'll be back to Hummingbird Bridge. I'm also hoping that our green heron will be on the section of the creek where it's a little quieter. I don't know what that really high-pitched constant call is. That's odd. It sounds birdish. Is that something that comes across in stream? It's like a constant high pitch. I mean, this is in the area where we've seen, because this is, it could be, so, robins. It may be robins, because robins can do like a high pitch, almost waxwing, whiny high pitch sound. Yeah, I'm thinking this is maybe young robins, because I did see there's one robin here foraging on the ground. It's a really thick oak tree. I'm not the best at calls either, James. Yeah, I think it's robins. It's not as constant or as piercing right now, but I think that whiny sound is similar. I mean, this is the time of year where there's also baby birds, and they make weird sounds anyway. So it could be a baby of something else too. Because right now I've got, in front of me I've got a male cardinal. An adult American robin. See where this robin goes up here. Yeah, I don't think I've heard our brown creepers very much, but you can imagine a bird of that size kind of sounding like that, because a tree creeper is basically the European relative of our brown creeper here. Yeah, and now that I saw one of the adult cardinals over here, that got me thinking that maybe it could be a bunch of hungry cardinal babies. But unfortunately, I mean, I can tilt up the whole canopy, which these are trees going up to 60 feet above me. Lots of very difficult to spot nest spots. But yeah, that's definitely a baby whine sound. Take out my earbud, see if I can get a better pinpoint on it. Because if you haven't seen baby cardinals are great. It's also battery swap time, so audio will die for a couple seconds. Oh, that's why my I just realized why my zoom levels were a little bit different. I was on 4K mode So, we're back. Yeah, almost had a bad whoopsie there. Close call, but we're good. Make sure everything's tightened back down after the battery swap. The default answer is county. There may be instances where if it's redeemed at a certain time, I may be able to do something a little bit more exotic than that. But my default thing is I get eBird updates for rare sightings in 2 counties actually. The county north of me where I grew up. I think I have rare bird alerts for that set up too, but those aren't reported very often because not many people bird. It's rural, no real parks or hotspots. So, yeah, so basically if somebody redeems that, what I will do is check the most recent rarity sightings in eBird. Like I say, I get updates of those. I rarely follow through on them. That Cassin sparrow I saw yesterday was kind of an exception. But it would be something like that where I'd have previous sightings to kind of give me a general idea. And within the county, you know, I'd be driving, you know, up to 20 miles or so. I might also, especially if there's nothing particularly exciting, because sometimes a rare bird sighting is just an out-of-season bird. So I wouldn't pull something like that on you. Like where it's like, oh, there's a song sparrow, and it's a rarity because it's here in June or whatever. Because they're all way gone by now, pretty much. And there are certain ones that I might skip over. You know, sometimes people post things from unlisted locations. You know, somebody might do something rare in their yard, and unless I happen to know that person, you know, I'm not going to try to hang around their neighborhood and try to, you know, spot a rare bird through a knot in their fence. Yeah, James, you should. We did get our second redeem for target species with the express intention of delaying that post hummingbird fledging. So as soon as hummingbirds fledge, we're going to go into greater roadrunner mode. Okay, we're getting close to the hummers. A lot of chattery chickadees. Maybe they'll be more active up by the bridge too. Still haven't felt really happy with the looks I've gotten at the... Had some branches brush the microphone there. Oh, and we also have a cute little aphid on the mic. But yeah, there's these birds that I'd like to get a little better look at. I'll have to check the VOD. I'm pretty sure we actually did get gray blue gnatcatcher there for a second. Like nothing good. Again, I like the idea of kind of being able to see and watch a bird. It's fun just to see one on some level. But for me, it's way more fun to be able to kind of get a better idea of their behavior, get to know them on a deeper level. We should have like when I finally get my streamer life list logger system set up. Almost feel like we should have like a provisional status. Like, yeah, we technically saw this bird on stream. Hey, Alec Yellow. Welcome in. We're about to get back to our hummingbird nest. If you want to see the baby hummers, they're getting big. Hey, Pookie. Think you could throw out a exclamation point SO for Alec there? Very different sort of contact, and avowed aviphobe. Which I totally get, honestly. You know, I know a lot of people who, you know, don't like birds or are a little bit scared of birds, and in a lot of cases it's because they had a bad experience as a kid with, you know, a bird that was defending a nest site, or just trying to get food in an area where they're habituated. A lot of that happens with gulls and stuff. But yeah, Alec does a lot of cool. I guess variety streamer would be the thing. Some fun gaming stuff. I found him playing one of my favorite games, Wildermyth. Also some cosplay and stuff like that. Good things. Alright, back to our hummer spot. The sun's a little bit more in my eyes, but I think I can still get a good shot at the nest. Just try not to knock the camera in the water. We'll be good. Okay, we got our oak tree in focus. That's a good start. I think we're on it. I think that's the nest. Is it though? Yeah, so we have a baby beak peeking out. Yeah, so just the teeniest, tiniest little tops of their heads sticking out there. So the light's still pretty good at the nest from this angle. The sun is straight up blinding me though. Trying to figure out if I can get a... Yeah, this way I'm kind of looking away from the sun at least. So yeah, a lot more feathers popping through now. Oh, so Alec, yours was a Disney World bird experience. Yeah, that's the thing, is like 90% of those bad experiences with birds are in human environments where birds are getting fed. And that's part of the reason why, you know, it's bad practice to feed wild birds, hand feeding especially. I mean, there's a big difference between having a bird feeder, hummingbird feeder out where there's not a connection between the humans and the food. But when when they're eating a lot of human food that humans are giving them, or out of trash cans and stuff, the birds get dependent on that and then lose their inhibition towards humans. And that's when you get things like aggressive behavior. It's pretty much always either that or like nest defense. They're trying to protect babies. Have a good one, Alex. Thanks for hopping in.
No fish. Big fish on the fish. The spiders one.
So I think we can get one good. We can wait for at least one good feeding. And I may have to pack up. Yeah, starting to sweat a little bit today too, for sure. Oh, I want to go super zoom for a sec. Oh, is there a spider? Little sleepy eye. Right on there on the right side, you can see the eye. Dang, Wind. Trying to look at babies. Chill out, Wind. Yeah, it's hard work being a baby. You gotta gulp down massive amounts of sugar water, basically. Gotta do test flappies. So yeah, they are even here. They're starting to get backlit a little bit because the sun's been basically blocked from above them by the leaves. Now it's finding some gaps. Get back behind them. So maybe we'll get a glowing neck again. Although they may have too many feathers for that now. Tongue. Howdy.
Step in the mud.
And just you can see I think it's a wingtip just moving on that left side along with their breath because they just breathe so quickly. So sometimes you'll see something big and white drift past the frame. That's some of the cottonwood fluff that's floating all around in the air right now. Double tongue action. Oh, overshot it. Trying to do that so we can see Mom's approach. And if we want to zoom in super more, we should have a good view there. Stay there though. So yeah, after this, probably have to get home, help out a little bit with dinner. Got some yummy stuff planned for tonight. Pretty excited about that. Hearing a chickadee, but kind of far away on the other side of the bridge. Tongue. Tongue action makes me definitely want to go in close. But the wind makes me want to pan back out. It's funny when I pat my pocket for my phone when my phone is right here. I do have my chat phone. Yeah, I'm kind of, if you followed along long enough, you've probably heard me talk about, you know, locking my keys in the car the first time I streamed here. And stuff like that. I'm notoriously absent-minded, especially when I'm focused on something else. I'm also prone to that sort of, you know, get an idea in your head and all of a sudden you've like gone somewhere to get something and you're like, I have no clue what it was I was getting. Or looking for something that's in your hand or... Come on, Mama, we want to see some more feeding. I think we got pretty lucky with how close together the first two feedings were today. Like a starling just came through. Could see some more fun. This light angle, all the light from the ripples in the water playing off the leaves is pretty good. Yeah, I'm not used to being so quiet at this spot when the people aren't passing by. I've heard no great crested flycatcher today. Have a couple of our common snapping turtles over here. At least one, we might take a peek as we're leaving. At least one egret is already at their roost site on the other side of the pond. It's about as stationary as I've seen him in a while, too. Here comes Mom. It's time. I say that. Yeah, here she is. Let's see if it's still enough to... There it was. Nice quick feeding, which usually means stretches afterwards. Oh, wow. And those are proper, you know, humming tests. When we've seen them do the test flappies in the past, it's not been that mode. That's like realizing that, like, you know, knowing that you're, okay, I'm a bird, I'm supposed to flap these things. And then like having realization of, oh, I'm a hummingbird. I can do my wings like that. Pretty freaking awesome. We'll wait for them to settle down and then I'll start wrapping that. See if they do any more cute stuff here. Oh, yeah, a little right. This time that was more towards the camera than we usually get to see for the waste ejection. Hey, Powerful Dot, welcome. So Powerful Dot, did you get a chance to get up and going on stream today? I saw some stream starting stuff soon, but then I wasn't able to check back in. Powerful Dot also does some cool nature streams from Pacific Northwest. Really scenic, cool stuff. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I've done it for that extended period of time. When I was actually trying to get, getting close to getting an affiliate, I had a stream where I accidentally rebooted up my computer after it died during stream, and so it streamed for a couple hours with nothing on it. Not very helpful for average viewer numbers, but I didn't care that much about it. Yep, I've literally done that thing. Maybe not for as long, but thank you, Green Herring. I presume that was the hyper flappies. Yeah, don't worry, Dot. You will bounce back from that. Yeah, there's those little streaky threads. little eyebrow too. Getting crowded, getting crowded. It's hard to find a good way to cuddle in a small place with your sibling when you both also have needles. Looks like they're settling in though, so I'm gonna go ahead, move the camera off of them, walk back towards the car, say my farewells. Can get, let's see. Oh no, our egret that was in a tree is no longer in a tree. Don't know where he went. Probably realized it wasn't quite roost time yet. Went back to hunting. Yeah, we'll go ahead and switch. Switch over to ending scene. We are known to switch out of ending scene mode occasionally. If something just chances across our path. But yeah, I thought it'd be fun. I just checked. And Louis DeLion has got his feeder cam up, so I thought might as well have some Hummer continuity. Go from baby ruby-throateds to a bunch of grown-up Allens, a lot of Allens and Rufus, and I think some Annas potentially as well. But some California, some of those western hummingbirds, and they're a lot more social, or at least tolerant of each other's presence. Ruby-throateds, you might occasionally see a couple ruby-throateds visiting feeders together, but usually even then there's some tension. Whereas these western hummingbirds, they'll get together in bigger groups and kind of be chill with each other. Not quite as territorial. So I'm gonna get that going, and then we'll call it a night. See here. Until we walked by the playground here. So it is follower chat only over there, unfortunately, but I do recommend following because it's the action's been really great. Lots of really good Hummer stuff. He's got a little water fountain as well, and yeah, lots of good things. So I think that will do it.